everyone, and welcome to tonight's Cabinet. I'd just like to progress to tonight's agenda. Do we have apologies for absence?
Apologies from Councillor McMullen, Roger Layton, Vicky Smith and David Hodgson.
Any other apologies? No, thank you. We'll move on to item 2. Can I ask if any members have any declarations of interest or notification of dispensations granted? Can you please make it known to the meeting if that's the case? Okay, thank you. Moving on to agenda item 3, which is the minutes of the meeting held on the 22nd of September. I would like to move a point of accuracy in the minutes. You may recall that before we considered the update on the strategic education review at the meeting in September, I left the room. That was due to a family link to one of the schools affected in the strategic education review. I would like the minutes amended to reflect this, and also note that I did not take part in the discussion for this item, as I didn't feel I could offer an impartial view. At the moment, the minutes just state that I left the meeting. They don't state the reason why. So I would like that amended. Thank you. Does anyone else have any amendments to the minutes? Yes, Councillor Hunter.
Same item. I left the meeting as well as requested by, or suggested by the.
Thank you, Councillor Hunter. Anyone else? No? Oh, we're happy to agree those minutes as a true record with those amendments in place. Agreed. Thank you. Would now invite Diamond, the young mayor, to present her report. Thanks, Diamond.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Apologies I was not here to give my last update in person. The last few weeks have been very busy for myself and Maggie in our participation groups in North Tyneside. Maggie and I are both working towards our pledges with the help of other youth council members in our task force groups. We have been working with internal teams within the council as well as external organisations to ensure our pledges are understood and supported. Over the next few months, we will be looking to share our final work with you all of the young people of North Tyneside, which we are very excited about. Last week, we celebrated Local Democracy Week with a range of different events taking place in school and here in council offices. We hosted a young person's question time event with a panel of professionals and 32 people present from a range of schools across the borough. The questions put forward by the young people were excellent, as well as the answers from the panel. Sessions across the week took place in 5 different schools, giving students an understanding around democracy, voting, and how to have their voice heard. In connection with Local Democracy Week, our youth council are also working on a democracy project to ensure young people have the knowledge and awareness to make an informed decision when it comes to voting. The project is in its early stages at the moment, and with the goal of educating young people about democracy and voting. In November, our Member of Youth Parliament, Maggie, will be attending the UK Youth Parliament annual sitting at the House of Commons. Maggie has also had the amazing opportunity of attending the Prime Minister's Question and the Youth Work Week Summit. This is a great chance for Maggie to represent North Tyneside on a national scale, and we are looking forward to seeing her update when she's back. The SEND Forum are currently looking at some changes to help EHCP document for children preparing for adulthood. They have been gathering feedback to share with children, young people and learning team, and to give their views on the new template being created. Members of SEND Youth Forum are also working with a local school to promote an art exhibition to raise awareness of neurodiversity. In November, it is the National Care Leavers Month, with this year's theme being Rising as Me, overcoming challenges, transforming and finding your identity. Our children and care group are working on how they would like to promote this and what their plans are to raise awareness throughout December. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for that, Diamond. Does anyone have any comments or would like to ask any questions? Yes, Councillor Early.
Thank you, Mayor. I was at the person's question time. I was on the panel, and as ever, it's a very challenging event if you're on the panel. I'm sure Louise will second that. The questions are always really diverse and challenging, and there was a particular question about young people getting the vote at 16. And I mentioned in my reply the project that the Youth Council are doing around democracy and information, and I think that's going to be a very useful and interesting project going forward.
You, Councillor Early. Any other questions or comments? I would just like to say thank you, Diamond, on behalf of Cabinet, for all this amazing work you're doing. And I'm really excited as well to hear the final presentation and what you've been doing. But I think it's really impressive. I think it's amazing that Maggie will have the opportunity to go to Parliament and represent North Tyneside. And again, look forward to hearing an update from Maggie. But thank you for all the work, and we'll look forward to hearing more in due course. Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 5, in the absence of Councillor Anthony McMullen, Carl Johnson will present this report on corporate risk management.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm pleased to present the Cabinet the Corporate Risk Management Summary Report this evening. The authority's corporate risks have been reviewed and updated in line with our risk management approach by the designated risk owners who are a member of the SLT or the relevant Cabinet member. Following the latest review, the authority is managing 14 corporate risks, and a summary of these risks is set out in Appendix 1, Annex 1. This includes one new risk, adaptation to climate change and extreme weather events. A new risk has been raised in response to the issues the authority may face due to ever-changing global climate and its impact on the borough. It reflects the need to ensure the authority is in a position to undertake effective adaptation measures to be prepared for and able to respond to climate change and extreme weather events. For some of these risks, further detail is provided within the risk management report later in the agenda. This is necessary as disclosure of full risk mitigations in the public report could expose the authority to even greater risk, for example, those relating to our cybersecurity arrangements. It is of note that the corporate risks identified in this report are not unique to North Tyneside Council, and similar risks can be found on local authority risk registers throughout the country. The authority are also I've identified risks within the government's National Risk Register and ensure these are regularly considered through the North Tyneside lens. For example, risks related to climate change, cybersecurity and counter-terrorism are all incorporated within our own risks. In line with our risk management approach, the corporate risks will be presented to the next meeting of the Audit Committee on the 12th of November 2025. Cabinet are therefore recommended to agree the recommendation as set out in paragraph 1.21 of the report.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Does anyone have any comments or questions in relation to this item? No? Or we're happy to agree the recommendations as set out in 1.2 of the report? Great, thank you. Moving on to agenda item 6, Procurement Plan 2025-26, and I will invite Councillor Carl Johnson again to present this report.
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this report is to ask Cabinet to delegate authority to officers in consultation with the relevant Cabinet member to commence procurement exercises for services applied to support the authority as details in Appendix 1 of the report. The authority spends a significant sum with third parties on a wide range of services. Carrying out robust tendering exercises ensures that the authority receives the best quality goods and services whilst maintaining value for money. The contracts identified in Appendix 1 of the report will require procurement exercise to be commenced in the financial year 25-26. These tender exercises will include social value to support the authority's priorities within the existing and emerging council plan. Since the previous report, some notable procurements have taken place. For example, providers have been appointed for the Rising Sun and the Playhouse. Our waste contract procurement has commenced, through which we seek to continue service delivery, greater recycling and reusing together with our social value commitments. Social value commitments with suppliers can be monitored closely and result in positive social value achievements from projects around the borough. Several of these are identified in Appendix 2 of the report. The Procurement Act, now implemented, has supported businesses providing greater market engagement and feedback to our tender exercise. In the coming weeks, the authority will go live with a supplier incentive scheme as approved by Cabinet. This will allow contracts to be paid earlier, should they wish, with financial benefits for the authority. The authority's procurement and commercial strategy 21-25 is due to be refreshed following the adoption of our North Tyneside plan. Consultation with key stakeholders will commence. I therefore propose the Cabinet approve the recommendations as set out in section 1.2 of the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Again, does anyone have any comments or questions in relation to this item? Quiet tonight. Okay, are we happy to agree the recommendations as set out in 1.2 of the report, the 4 recommendations? Agreed? Thank you. Moving on to agenda item 7, Tenant Engagement Strategy 2025-29. Can I invite Councillor John Harrison to present the report?
Thank you, Mayor. The Tenant Engagement Strategy 25-29 sets out the authority's approach to engagement with its tenants, ensuring their views are central to the way the authority designs, delivers and reviews its social housing services. The authority wants every tenant to feel heard, valued and able to influence the things that matter most in their homes and neighbourhoods. The Social Housing Regulation Act 2023 sets out standards for all registered social housing providers to achieve. Part of this directly refers to tenant engagement, which provides required to take in tenant views into account in their decision making and how their services are delivered. A broader corporate engagement strategy outlining priority approaches for the authority engagement work is currently in development, and the strategy reflects some of the emerging work. This report provides Cabinet with the authority's new tenant engagement strategy, which will support the authority our work to engage tenants and leaseholders to further improve the authority's landlord services. As Mayor, that we are recommending that we note and approve the Tenants Engagement Strategy 25-29 attached to the report at Appendix 1.
Thank you, Councillor Harrison. Again, are there any comments or questions? Yes, Councillor Green.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm really happy to support this tenant engagement strategy. It's really important that we hear tenants' views firsthand, and we're doing that through the panels and other meetings and engagement events. We all must remember that they may be our houses, but they are people's homes, and as such, they have the right and the emphasis to say what is right and what is wrong, and we must take account of that in every way that we can. And I'm delighted to be part of the Landlords Panel and helping to do that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Graham. Any other comments or questions? No, I'd just like to say I certainly welcome the strategy as well, and as always favour active engagement with residents in shaping our policy and practice going forward. So thank you, and thank you, Councillor Harrison. Are we happy to agree the recommendations on page 134? Yep, thank you. Moving on to agenda item 8, which is the Safer North Tyneside Community Safety Partnership Strategy. Can I invite Councillor Sandra Graham to present this report?
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of this report is to advise Cabinet of the proposals for the review of the Safer North Tyneside strategy. The authority is required to produce a strategy to set out the priorities of the partnership in the coming 4-year period. The approval of this strategy is a shared responsibility between Cabinet and Council, with the last strategy being in place from 2019. Safer North Tyneside is a statutory community safety partnership. The partnership works on the principle that no single agency can address all drivers of crime and antisocial behaviour, and that effective partnership working is vital to ensuring safer communities. The partnership is required by legislation to have a community safety strategy in place. A community safety strategy sets out an overarching framework for the partnership to reduce crime and disorder in the coming years. It sets out the vision for the partnership with a number of key priorities, which will steer the operational and delivery groups that report into the partnership. These groups include the Antisocial Behaviour Group and the Domestic Abuse Partnership. The draft strategy has been developed by the 5 responsible authorities of the Safer North Tyneside Partnership and is informed by the elected mayor's priorities, the Police and Crime Commissioner's priorities, and takes into account data from the recent Strategic Needs Assessment. 4 new priorities have been identified, which centre around tackling neighbourhood crime and antisocial behaviour, tackling domestic abuse and violence against women and girls, reducing serious violence and organised crime, and promoting community cohesion and resilience. The vital next step is to consult wider. As such, the strategy will be subject to a 6-week consultation exercise, which will include all residents, local businesses, as well as all councillors and MPs. The consultation will begin on the 27th of November 2025 and will allow residents to comment on this important document. I recommend Cabinet to approve option 1 contained within section 1.6 of this report and give approval to the commencement of the 6-week consultation exercise. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Graham. Any comments or questions? Yes, Councillor Early.
This is another important strategy and document, and I'm really pleased to see the extent of the external consultation that's going to take place. Because as ward councillors, we all know that things like antisocial behaviour and low-level crime can make our residents' lives misery. And so getting their views on this, I think, will be very useful. And hopefully we can take the strategy forward and implement it.
Thank you, Councillor Early. Any other questions or comments? No, I would just like to echo those comments, Councillor Early, and acknowledge how important this report is in terms of keeping our communities safe and secure, and our partnerships with our multi-agency organisations, including the police. And I look forward to seeing the results of the consultation and to the final report coming back in February. Are members happy to agree the recommendations outlined on, I've got them on 1.2, page 178, that are repeated, I think, under point 6 in the report. Members happy to agree those recommendations? Thank you. Okay, that takes us on to item 9, which is the exclusion resolution. Can I have members' agreement for the exclusion resolution, and that's to give further notice in accordance with paragraphs 5 and 5 brackets 4 and 5 brackets 5 of the Local Authorities Executive Arrangements, Meetings and Access to Information, England Regulations 2012, of the intention to consider item 9 below in private. Cabinet is requested to consider following the resolution, the exclusion resolution. Are we happy to do that? Agreed? Thank you.